got mail.
Hey guys, my name is Ryan.
And my name is Miska.
And welcome to Overwatch Central, and welcome to the Mei-lbox, a series we used to do a while back before the channel started growing a lot. And essentially, this is a Q&A series where we answer questions about Overwatch, gaming in general, or just ourselves. For the first episode back, we've picked a bunch of comments. Most of them not really meant for this video in particular, but if you do have any questions of your own, please leave them down in the comments below and we'll answer more in the next episode. Anyway, let's get right into the first question.
So first off is R. Hunter saying, random question for Miska. Is that a Scarlett interface and do you run it on Windows 10? I've been looking for an interface that works on Windows 10. I kind of took this comment because I wanted to talk about our setups a little bit because we get random questions about them occasionally and I thought I'd just list mine real quick. And yes, I do have a Scarlett interface, a Scarlett Solo, which I do run on Windows 10 actually, and it does work fine. I haven't really had any issues with it whatsoever. And this microphone is actually a Rode NTG2, which is kind of made to record films and that sort of stuff, really. But I use it for this, it works fine. I also have a computer that does have a GTX 960 in it, an i5 2320 running on 3 GHz, 14 gigabytes of RAM, and that's about it. It's not a great PC, but this setup does it for me. It's alright for now, but it probably needs an upgrade later down the line. Also, just to add very quickly, we were also asked about our graphics settings in Overwatch, so this is a quick look of my graphics settings and Ryan's graphics settings. You can pause the video to have a bit of a closer look if you want.
So for me, microphone wise, I have a Samsung Meteor, which is just a fairly cheap USB microphone, fairly good quality. I think I picked it up for about £50 and it's just on a mic arm with a pop shield. As far as my PC goes, I have an Intel Core i7-2600K CPU, which is clocked at 3.4 GHz. I have 12 gigs of RAM and recently I got the GeForce GTX 960 graphics card. So it's a fairly standard run-of-the-mill computer. For my graphics settings, as you've seen, I set it to high. That's mostly just for streaming and recording so we don't drop frames. I recently tried putting it up to ultra and seeing how it fared, and it's at 60 frames a second with a couple of frame drops now and again. So I'll give that a go and get back to you with how that ends up. The Egg asks, can someone tell me how to use the Pinwheel to say those objective messages? Like XXX wants to move the payload. That's actually not on the Pinwheel, but it's used by pressing the understood button. That button is currently keybound to F on a keyboard, and I'm not entirely sure what it is on controller. But generally when you press that button whilst the objective is in your reticle, it will homing and say you want to protect the payload, move the payload, whatever. It also kind of works with healing. If you're looking at a certain person whilst you say I need healing, it will speak to them. And also if you look at other players with understood, it says you say to so and so understood. So the Pinwheel also has effects depending on what you're looking at that time. What would be cool if that worked as well with enemy players? For example, if you press understood looking at a Genji, it goes so and so wants to kill the Genji. I know that one's in Heroes of the Storm and it's very effective to get people to sort of group up and take out one specific hero that's causing issues. So that might be interesting to see in Overwatch down the line. So yeah, technically the understood button, but it can only be pressed on keyboard and we're not entirely sure on controller. It's definitely worth checking in the controls to see and have a look, and change it if you want to.
Next up is Megan Leon asking, hey, do you guys think Zenyatta needs some sort of health buff? Because I've been playing some Zenyatta a lot and I've realized how easy you are to get killed. Like, it's very easy to get picked off with Zenyatta. Yes, you're a 150 HP hero with no mobility abilities whatsoever, so you can very easily get body shot by a Widowmaker, 150 damage, 150 HP, bang, one shot, that's it, you're dead. So what I think they could do about this is maybe up the health or just give him a bit of armor as well, or even that would prevent a one shot from the Widowmaker in a body shot at least. Sure, you'd be left at 5 HP, but it's a little bit better, you know? I feel like there's just small tweaks that can be done to it, but overall, Zenyatta is actually quite balanced to me, because you do have the Discord Orb and Harmony Orb that are both very powerful, especially the Discord Orb. And even after this line of sight nerf that happened to Zenyatta in closed beta, he's actually still a very strong hero, and the potential damage from Zenyatta is also very high. So in my opinion, if anything, you'd probably nerf Widowmaker instead to not have her one-shot Zenyatta. Because Widowmaker, in my opinion, is probably one of the strongest, if not the strongest hero in Overwatch right now.
Agreed, especially with a recent buff to Widowmaker, meaning that you could change the sensitivity of her inside her scope, which just makes it easier for a lot of players to get used to now. But yeah, we definitely agree. Zenyatta is very hard to play because it's very easy for him to be taken out. It does rely a lot on positioning and stuff, and it's weird having the ult that he has. We've spoken about this countlessly, that he's very much a backline healer, sits from a distance and picks his targets from a distance. So having an ultimate which requires people to sort of gather around him is kind of counterproductive, really. I don't think we're going to see any major changes now that the game is being released, but we do know that there are patches and buffs and nerfs in the works, and I'd be very surprised to not see Zenyatta on that list in one way or another. Ranger 5004 asks, is Overwatch even competitive? Seems casual to me with mostly quick play. There is actually a ranked version in the works. There was one in the closed beta, but there was a lot of things wrong with it. It wasn't sort of based around win percentage. It was more like whoever played the most ended up getting to the highest rank. So it does need work, and no doubt Blizzard are working on this as we speak right now. There's going to be some big revamps, and it's very important that they get competitive mode out soon, so people can still progress with something in the game. Other than that, it's one of those things that you get out what you put in. We have a lot of games with friends where we try hard a lot and try and play as competitively as possible, and if we're in a full pre-made then we end up going against a full pre-made, so it tends to be quite competitive in that sense as well. It's always tricky to try hard in pugs because you have a lot of sort of inexperienced people that you might play against, so it's a bit awkward, but when it comes to playing competitively, if that's something you want to do, there are plenty of forums and stuff to find like-minded people, and who knows, maybe even to set up your own team.
Yeah, and on top of all this ranked stuff, there's actually a competitive scene that's already very active for Overwatch. Some of you that have been very recently introduced to the game around the time of launch might not know about this, but there have been lots of big tournaments with big prize pools, and just a few days ago, over the weekend, there was an Agents Rising tournament, that's what it was called, in the US, and it was an open registration tournament, a LAN even, and it seemed to be a great time. It was a $10,000 prize pool, a bunch of pro teams, but also some just, newly formed teams that wanted to play together, and I knew a few people who went to the event and played, I knew some people who casted it, and everyone seemed to have a good time. So there's a lot of stuff happening. You can check out r/Overwatch, r/competitive Overwatch, there's Discords and stuff. If I remember to, I will pop a few links in the description to various stuff where you can check out these sort of tournaments and the esports scene that's already very active and growing in Overwatch. And last but not least, we got Spiky Chris saying, do you think that Torbjorn's turret needs a nerf on the console version of Overwatch? They then go on to talk about the tracking speed being too quick and so on. And sure, the aim assist problem that you mentioned might be an issue, but honestly, the game is actually already balanced for console. I've talked to a few Blizzard reps about this, and basically what they've said is that damage numbers have been changed a bit here and there to actually make the game sort of more fair for console. So a turret, for example, that would automatically lock onto a hero does a little bit less damage simply because aiming on console is a little bit more tricky and takes a little bit more time. So there are already a few damage values that have been tweaked to make the console version more fair, but personally I don't play on console, so maybe I'll get around to it more in the future, but I can't say too much about it. But that's what I know about it. Hopefully it's not too much of an issue, but I'm sure Blizzard will keep both the console and PC version well updated. For example, with the big update that's coming in late June, so in 3 to 4 weeks.
And that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Do definitely add questions in the comments below if you have any, about the channel, about any heroes, about any plans for the future. Do let us know and we'll add them. Also, be sure to like this video if you want to see more Mei-lbox. We're in a very interesting point at the moment where we are growing considerably, and we want to make sure that we're putting out the kind of content that you guys want to watch. We enjoy making this, so if you enjoy watching it, do let us know and we'll continue to do so. Subscribe if you haven't already to the channel, and until next time, take care. We'll see you then.